You are unmuted by host.
All right, everyone, welcome. We're gonna kick it off. We're gonna start any second here. Anastasia, do you want to, she already put on the chat what she'd like everyone to do. Leave your contact info there. Anastasia, would you like to get us started? Oh, you're still muted, okay. I saw you unmute yourself. Okay, no worries, I will keep going here. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to our 1 o'clock Pacific time webinar, 4 p.m. Eastern time webinar. Welcome everyone from across the country, US, Canada. We got people calling in from everywhere here. It's awesome to have everyone here. Before we begin, as Anastasia mentioned in the chat, leave your questions in the chat. Keep yourself muted until the very end. We'll have a Q&A at the very end, which will be good. Let us know where you're from. Some of you have already added that in there. Have a pen and paper or have some note-taking devices available, maybe a Word document open, something that you can keep track of what we're going over. We're going to be going over some very important things today. Please, it would be great to have your undivided attention. I know online it's difficult sometimes and we're joining webinars all day long, but we're going to go over some really, really good stuff for business owners, small, medium-sized businesses, and treat it like a webinar as well too. Or sorry, treat it like a seminar. If you missed us this morning, no worries. Here we are again. We're back. We've had a successful last couple of weeks. And that has been very, very good. So we're going to continue these webinars. We're going to have different exciting topics every single week. Last week, we went over how to pivot your business, how to fill the gap that other businesses are leaving, and they're creating this gap by going out of business or shutting down their operations or adjusting their hours. And so that really gives you as a business owner an opportunity to fill that gap. How to communicate with your customers more effectively. We have some free tools, some free business support tools that you can take advantage of. Definitely reach out to us after. We can set up a one-on-one, and we'll send you an email with those free tools, and we'll be in touch. And today as well, we are excited to have another guest on the show, an industry-leading expert. We'll introduce him in about 10 minutes. So be sure, 10 to 15 minutes, be sure to stay on. And then you will learn lots from our guest speaker that we have on today. A little bit about us. We are a Google partner, what's called a Google partner, or a premier Google partner. We are a leading digital marketing agency all across North America, even into Europe and other places. A little bit about us. Obviously, we've been around a very long time, since 2005. We're all across Canada, like I said, coast to coast. I've been with the company since 2017. My colleague as well has been with the company for about a year now, Anastasia. We've seen a lot of different changes in the marketing landscape. Obviously, everyone's saying this is unprecedented, but it really isn't. The pandemic is unprecedented, but the actual economic situation that we're all faced with and what businesses are having to deal with is something that we've seen before. We've seen similar things to this. So we've been through these difficult times as a business, and maybe you have as well. And so through these turbulent times, there's some things that you can bring in from what you did in the past, and also some new things that you need to start adapting and implementing in your business to weather the storm. Normally, obviously, we meet clients face-to-face, one-on-one, out here on the West Coast where I am in, which is in West Coast of Canada. But we have offices in all major cities across Canada, and we have presence in the U.S. as well. So across the border, different sides, we have presence. So we are proud to step up more than ever before now. We're always there to offer businesses support and guidance and implementation and execution. But during these times, we've really stepped up to the plate. And what we've been doing is this. So we have this slide here. You'll see two different uh, phones on the side there. These are two different clients, Brown Brothers and Wayfair Insurance. And what they have are these COVID-19 business support tools that I mentioned, these free tools, no contract, no charge. We're happy to help you out with this as well. Every business should have this on their website, which is a live chat, making it easier for your clients, new and existing, to reach out to you to see what's been happening in your business. Have you adjusted your delivery options? Have you adjusted your hours? How do you communicate to your clients, right? Most of the time, we let them, we deliver this content or we communicate to our clients through social media or on our website. But really, more than ever, you want to have it smack right in the middle, right in the middle of their face, so that they see it when they visit your website. So a live chat is one. You'll see that on the left there, and then on the right is a nice banner that we placed at the top of the website. But we can also have it in the form of a pop-up, which is nice as well. So different clients have chosen these different tools, and it's really mandatory for all of our clients all across North America to have these. We saw some success with these tools, and we started to actually offer them to non-clients, and so it's been really successful. And just to keep your clients in the loop, and so that they come back to you, that they don't forget about you. Today's subject is how to leverage subsidies and grants, free government money across North America that you can tap into. In the States, we're going to be talking about the US, different programs available. Ashwin's going to talk about that, and also in Canada as well, from Toronto to Vancouver. But in the States specifically, we have a lot of people joining from New Jersey, New York. We got the West Coast. We got people from LA, all over. So we're going to talk about actual programs that you can tap into today that can keep your business afloat and inject some money and some life into it to keep you going, okay? And I'm going to talk a little bit about different programs that Google, Facebook, Shopify offer, and some other platforms that are really helping out during this time. Your business obviously needs support, right? It needs the support, and it needs cash flow during these times. Obviously, we're gonna be talking about, very few businesses are not affected by this crisis, right? It's pretty much across the board. Everyone's been impacted, and so maybe yours has been impacted too. It's definitely stressful times, and a lot of businesses have small coffers, which really make it difficult. And if you look in the news every single day, there are businesses that are really struggling and looking for more options. The small to medium-sized businesses really make up the majority of the economy, right? They make up about 90% of the economy, and so it's important that we support you, and you've always supported us in throughout the years, and so we're going to give back. And Amazon and Google and Facebook, they're also returning the favor and helping you out during this time, and which is nice. These are some of the offers that are right now available to businesses: wage subsidies, interest-free loans, low interest loans, and deferring payments for a different time. As I mentioned, Ashwin's going to talk more in depth about this. So I'm just whetting your appetite a little bit for the next in the next 10 minutes. Here's how Google's helping. Okay, so what Google is doing for SMBs, small, medium-sized businesses, is they've announced a COVID-19 response package, right? A stimulus package. Google does well when small, medium-sized businesses are advertising, right? Obviously, that is a huge part of their revenue. And so now, like I said, they're giving back. They're throwing money back into the public sphere to help SMBs weather the storm, get back to the advertising ways, right? And in the meantime, there are ways that you can continue to advertise, not cut back on the advertising, but tweak it a little bit, right? And that's what we can help with. And I'll give some examples in a minute. They're also supporting the private financial institutions, like smaller institutions, and NGOs, government organizations around the world to help provide small businesses with access to capital. Because what we're seeing is a lot of the bigger financial institutions are overrun. They're not able to handle the demand. So Google's throwing in about $200 million investment fund, which is nice. But the ad credit that I skipped over that one, the ad credit that's available to you is actually in total $340 million worldwide in ad credits. And these ad credits will be updated on the Google ad account. And so if you're working with us, we'll take care of that for you. We'll make sure that you get access to that. If you're doing it yourself, right, touch base with us and we'll talk about how you can leverage that a little bit more. Also check with us to see if you qualify, right? A lot of, there's some new businesses that are starting out that they qualify for the thing below that on the slide, which is the $500 per month that they're getting, or sorry, the $500 for the first month. And it will be announced soon, but you can get access first from us or through us, okay? Which is nice. Now, Facebook and Shopify are also doing their part. Shopify's opened a capital fund, which was launched as a way to help Shopify merchants secure funding. They are able to access loans ranging from $200 all the way up to $1 million. So some of our clients and soon-to-be clients, they have Shopify sites, right? And these are e-commerce sites. And so we can help you out with that as well, so that you can bring your product online on e-commerce and sell more of it. Whether you sell yoga mats, whether you offer a physical product, whatever that may be, you can offer that on the site. This funding will fill in the gaps that banks generally can't satisfy right now, and so providing businesses with this cash flow. A few examples that we have here are to inject. Where do you inject these subsidies, these grants, these programs that are available to you right now? Here are a couple examples that we have. One is actually someone that we've been working with for a long time, nonprofit, Mothers Against Drunk Driving. It's a nonprofit organization. They've been using about $120,000 in free Google ad credit, ad grant advertising dollars. And so we actually manage it for them to get the most out of their dollars spent, but really it's no charge for them. An e-commerce yoga mat company, didn't put the name here specifically because I don't want to put that out there, but we certainly have many, many clients to name drop, right, if you ask us. They have taken advantage of the $500 ad credit in the first month, and they actually saw an increase of 50 new purchases in the first month alone. So which is really, really good. Studies show, what I want to mention here is that very important, studies show over the past, really like decades, companies who continue to advertise during tough economic times and even can, if they can, double down on it, will come out on top when the economy rises, right? If you don't have enough money in your bank to pay to put food on your table, then maybe lay off for a moment, right? But you can take advantage of that first month where there's a $500 credit, right? But really, the ones that are okay right now, if you continue to advertise in a smart way and an effective way, you actually emerge stronger than ever before, right? The adage that we have here on the screen is, when times are good, you should advertise, right? When times are bad, you must advertise as well. So it doesn't stop, right? Think about also the financial guru, Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett says a similar thing, right? He says, be greedy when others are backing off. When people are backing down, step up to the plate and actually, do a little bit more if you can, okay? Because there's an opportunity to grab market share and increase your business. If you're saying to yourself you don't want to blast your message out there with little to no return, like I said, talk to us one-on-one. That's where we can help and make your online marketing campaign targeted, effective, so that there's no ad waste, right? A very structured campaign, and you know what you're getting. You know exactly what you're getting from it. I want to mention too, consumer confidence is still okay. It hasn't dropped down too low yet. So it's important to recognize this. And as other businesses stumble around you, you're able to fill that gap, right? Consumer confidence is still okay. And so it's the business, the business confidence is lower, right? Because there's some uncertainty, but consumers still need products, still need goods, still need what you offer, and where are they going to go, right? setting up, I kind of touched on this already, but setting up or managing a campaign that is reaping you fruit so your business remains alive, especially during these times. We'll monitor it closely, constantly improve it, on the lookout for market patterns that are changing fast right now. That is a key point. Every single day it's changing, and so we're having to stay on top of it and really double down on our efforts and finding new opportunities for you, and advising with you and consulting with you as well. We listen to our clients. We work for you, and so that can help you get you faster and better results, right, than if you were doing it on your own. Really advise not to do that, because there's a lot of ad waste that can happen, and if you don't know what you're doing, it can be very tricky. How this works in your business obviously will vary. Understand that any crisis presents an opportunity for your business, really. Growing your audience, offering new services that you never thought of were available to you, tapping into these Google programs and government grants, right? These are things that wouldn't have happened if this crisis had not occurred. And so there is a new opportunity, right? The logistics and being and how to qualify for these government grants and loans, that's what our guest on today, Ashwin, is going to be speaking to you about. And he's going to walk you through that. And so that leads me into introducing our friend here, Ashwin Kotamarti. Ashwin Kotamarti is a chartered professional accountant. I'm very proud and excited to introduce him. He is an accomplished guest who's at the peak in his field, and he's been working with us as a client of BreezeMax Web, seeing great success for a while now. So he's a chartered professional accountant based out of Toronto on the east coast of Canada. After graduating with honors from Wilfrid Laurier University in Waterloo, Ontario, Ashwin worked with two of the largest accounting firms in the world, PricewaterhouseCoopers and Ernst & Young, for over 8 years in both Canada and in the United States as part of his 13-year plus experience as a professional accountant. Ashwin is a licensed public accountant and a director of the Kotamarti Group, CPAs/professional corporation. As part of Canada's financial literacy program, Ashwin has presented various topics on finance and accounting to large private companies such as Porsche Canada, governmental organizations, and at universities and colleges, for example, such as York University. He's up to date with the nature of the market right now, as he's working one-on-one with his clients on a daily basis, and especially how small businesses can tap into these offers. He offers financial consulting on both sides of the border in Canada and in the United States, in all areas such as budgeting, financial analysis, corporate tax consulting. He's as I mentioned, he's a longtime BreezeMax Web client, and we've been seeing success with him, and he's happy with the work that we are doing for him. So we could not think of a better professional and expert in his field than to have Ashwin on here today. I'm proud to introduce him. Ashwin, how are you today, sir? All right, Ashwin, are you, see if you can unmute yourself. Maybe I'll unmute it for you. Just gotta find you on the list here. One sec here. There he is. I'm just gonna unmute Ashwin. Ashwin, are you there?
Hi, Brennan. How are you doing?
Hey, good.
Yes. Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you fine.
Good. Good. Thanks. Thanks for having me on here.
No problem at all. Good to have you, Ashwin.
So yes, hi everyone. As Brennan mentioned, my name is Ashwin Kotamarti. I'm a chartered professional accountant based out of Toronto, Ontario. I've been a client of BreezeMax Web for a number of years now. In fact, a lot of our clients have also used their services, and we've found that their services really they're truly experts in their field, and they've really helped us grow our businesses. Today, as Brennan had alluded to earlier on in his presentation, I'm going to be discussing about how Canadian and American governments have provided programs that allow you to access free money as part of the Canadian and American government's economic responses to the COVID-19 pandemic. So both Canada and US have introduced financial packages as part of their economic responses. The Canadian government has provided over 202 billion Canadian dollars, whereas the USA, their stimulus packages the size of $1 trillion US dollars. Now, both of these packages provide free money for both individuals as well as businesses. So in Canada, the individuals, from an individual standpoint, you can receive up to $2,000 on a monthly basis, which is a taxable benefit for any individual that's affected by COVID-19, whether it be due to sickness, if you have to take care of someone that's affected by COVID-19, or if you have to take care of your child as a result of the daycares and schools being closed around this time. Low-income workers have had their salaries temporarily topped up. The GST credit, which is a goods and sales tax credit, has also been increased around this time. And the government is also working with banks to allow individuals who have mortgages to defer these mortgages for a period of up to 6 months. From a business standpoint, both Canada and the US are very similar in what they've provided to small businesses, small to medium-sized businesses. They have allowed for the deferral of taxes, whether it be income tax or payroll taxes or even HST. They've also subsidized the wages for example, in Canada, there's a program where you can apply up to 75% of your wages can be applied for to receive it back as a subsidy. If not, if you don't qualify for that program, the majority of businesses qualify for the 10% subsidies, which is quite helpful around this time. They also have a program under, a variety of programs under their Access to Credit initiative, which includes a variety of programs. For example, the BCAP, which is the Business Credit Availability Program, wherein they've injected $40 billion of additional financial support through their two crown corporations, BDC, Business Development Bank of Canada, as well as EDC, Export Development Canada. They're intending to introduce a program where commercial property owners can receive loans which might even be fully forgivable, who in turn will provide free rent to their tenants. So if you have commercial property and you're renting commercial property, you may be eligible for this, but they're working on introducing this program. And for young entrepreneurs as well as small businesses that don't qualify for a variety of their programs, it's still injected about almost $900 million just for that particular group. Now, what we're going to be discussing about today, right after I give you a brief insight of what the U.S. is doing, is the Canada Emergency Business Account. We're going to talk about that further on our next slide. And that's also another really good way of getting free money, and there's a lot of attractive options that particular account provides. So in the USA, similar to Canada, the government is allowed for the deferral of taxes. Your taxes from an individual standpoint are typically due by April 15th. That deadline has now been moved to July 15th. There's another similar program to the Canadian programs called the it's what's called economic impact payments, where you can receive up to $1,200 if you're an individual that files, or even if you don't file income taxes, as long as you meet certain criteria, you're eligible to receive that funding. And then from a business standpoint, in addition to providing the subsidies, the wage subsidies, they also have tax credits for individuals for employees that work for your business that may need to take a leave, either due to sick or family leave, or even if they have to take care of someone with coronavirus, or if they have to take care of their children as a result of their school or the children's daycare being closed. But firstly, we'll look at how businesses operating in Canada can access free government money. As I alluded to in my previous slide, it was the Canada Emergency Business Account that I'd like to talk about. So the Canada Emergency Business Account is an account that businesses can apply for. It's basically a $40,000 loan, which is provided through the business's primary financial institution, in which it maintains its primary operating account. The loan has a lot of interesting and attractive features, such as no minimum monthly payments. So you're not tied down to making any monthly payments over the term of the loan, which is a little over 2.5 years. It's due by December 31st, 2022. That in itself is quite attractive because, especially at this point in time, you can use the amounts to fund your business, keep your operating expenses, manage your operating expenses at this point in time, and then eventually, when you're in a position to pay it back, you've developed sufficient cash flow. You can eventually start making payments towards paying off the loan. Now, even if you don't pay it back by December 31st, 2022, it's not to say that the loan is due at this point. You could convert it into a 3-year loan with an interest rate of 5%. So that option is available. So if you really think about it, you've got this loan that's almost 5.5 years, would have a term of almost 5.5 years. But if possible, I would suggest to pay it off before December 31st, 2022, because one of the best features about this loan is that up to 25% of it is forgivable. So that means up to $10,000 is essentially free money if you're able to pay off the outstanding balance by December 31st, 2022. Another attractive feature is that it's interest-free, so there's no interest due on this loan at least until December 31st, 2022, which is obviously very, very attractive if you consider the time value of money. There's obviously some eligibility criteria in terms that need to be met, and we have limited time on this webinar today. So if you'd like to learn more about this, I would encourage you to either reach out to me or your accountant to ensure you meet this criteria before applying for this loan. Now, while the CEBA is an attractive loan provided by the Canadian government, the USA has unveiled a program that's very similar as well as part of its response to the COVID-19 pandemic. This program that I would like to talk to you about today is the Paycheck Protection Program. Now, the Paycheck Protection Program is a loan program that's administered by the Small Business Administration. And the SBA is providing forgivable loans as part of this program to allow businesses to continue operating rather than shut down shop at this point in time, and just continue maintaining their operating expenses and have sufficient amount of cash flow to fund these expenses. Now, obviously, there's some criteria in terms that must be met. For example, the size of the business, or even the use of the money. How are you going to be using the money? But similar to the CEBA in Canada, to get access to this loan, you need to apply for your financial institutions. Now, one very attractive feature about this loan is that up to 100% of it is forgivable. So what does that mean? Basically, if you apply for it all and the SBA deems you to be eligible for 100% of it to be forgivable, you basically get all that money for free, and you can utilize it right now to fund your operations. And at the end of and based on the criteria, you don't have to pay it back. So we think that's very, very attractive. And also the interest rate, even though there is interest on this loan, which is not like the CEBA in Canada, the interest rate is very, very low. It's only 1%. So that in itself is quite attractive, is what we think. Now, like I said, not all businesses qualify for this, so we recommend you reaching out to a professional accountant to assist you with applying for this loan. But we definitely say we would advise you to look into this program. It'll give you access to free government money that can help your businesses cover their operating expenses during this pandemic. Now, it's not only federal levels of government that are providing funding. There are a lot of funding options that are provided by provincial here in Canada, or even state governments, along with municipal governments. So I know Brendan had mentioned that there's quite a few of you that are attending this webinar from New York, from San Francisco, from the West Coast, as well as in New Jersey. So the cities, for example, San Francisco, the city of San Francisco has a program where you can receive up to $50,000 of a loan, with really long maturity dates, up to 6 years is how long these loans can be provided to. It's for small businesses at a 0% interest rate. So interest-free loans are eligible, are options that you can apply for if you're a business in San Francisco. New York City also has a New York City Small Business Continuity Fund, which can provide up to $75,000 in interest-free loans. This comes directly from the city of New York, and it's essentially, again, another good option to utilize if your business is in need of these government funding at this point in time. New Jersey also has a $10 million program to offer low-cost financing. That's part of the initiative to New Jersey small businesses and not-for-profits. This particular program provides you with a direct loan of up to $100,000, and payments are deferred for up to 12 months. So up to 12 months, there is no payment that you need to make on this particular loan. So in short, I'd like to say that there's a lot of government funding options available to businesses, and all levels of governments are trying to do what they can to help businesses during these unprecedented times. Now, in addition to government funding, large companies such as Facebook, Amazon, and Google are all doing what they can to provide financial assistance to businesses and not-for-profits. I know Brennan touched about Google Grants earlier on in his presentation, and that's a great option. But Facebook also has what is called a small business grants program, in which they've committed up to offering up to 30,000 small businesses with over $100 million in cash grants and Facebook advertising credits. Now, one thing about this program is that it's available to more than 30 different countries, and so if your business is a global business, if you have operations in countries other than North America that are part of this list of the program that Facebook's offering, you could utilize this initiative that they have and take advantage of free funding that's provided by Facebook. Now, Amazon also has a fund known as the Amazon Neighborhood Small Business Relief Fund. If you recall, when the pandemic started off, it hit the state of Washington and Seattle in particular quite bad. And so at that point in time, Amazon had initiated a $5 million fund, in which businesses, small businesses in the city of the neighborhood of Seattle can apply for this particular funding, in which if you have 50 employees or less, or if you take in less than $7 million in annual revenue, so really small businesses could apply for this and gain access to funding. And again, like I said, Google has a number of grants, and Google Ad grants will really help your business's marketing initiative at this point in time. So all in all, there's a lot of options available for your business to get access to free money from federal to municipal governments, both in Canada as well as in the USA. Your businesses can really obtain this funding that they may require in order to continue operating during these unprecedented times. One thing I've been stressing to our clients is to ensure that, like, I would say that this is not the time you lose momentum. That is, like, don't take your foot off the gas pedal. Continue to maintain, or even better if possible, increase your market share. Market your business. Take this time to maybe even look inward and see if there's any efficiencies that you could change within your business. But definitely invest in your business, as it's going to pay off, and it'll definitely pay off in the long run. Other than that, thank you for your time, and I'll pass it back to Brennan.
Thank you, Ashwin. That's awesome. Thank you for explaining in detail the programs that are available to us in Canada and us in the States. A lot of different options and tools for us available, which is awesome. And so hopefully you've all learned some more information about the next steps you can take. Definitely reach out to Ashwin. But before we do that, hopefully you've been starting to think about some questions that you may have. I'm gonna pass it over to my colleague Anastasia Shade, and she's gonna mention some initial questions that we have for Ashwin.
Actually, Brian, may I chime in before we get to the Q&A?
Please do. Yep.
Hi, everyone. It's Steve Savekovich here. I'm the Senior VP at BreezeMax Web. And I just wanted to kind of quickly recap everything that you've heard today before we open it up to your Q&A, which you can put in the chat there. So just to be clear, in this unprecedented time, I've been with BreezeMax Web working directly with online marketing products for over 10 years. And I can assure you every day over those 10 years, something has changed, but we've never seen as big a change as we are right now with COVID-19. It's absolutely unprecedented. And I hope that you are all on this webinar, this web series, for the same reason that we are doing this web series, is to answer questions and grow and work through this together. As an organization, we have completely pivoted on so many of our practices to make sure that not only are we surviving right now, but thriving during this pandemic. Like Ashwin had mentioned, things like wage subsidies for staff to keep ourselves in production, all the way to advertising grants that can really help us reach a whole new audience with our message right now. So as we've seen a lot of businesses closing their doors, their customers still need to be serviced, and marketing is more important than ever now to make sure you're not one of those ones that closes up and falls behind. As well, there are also grants available for brand new businesses that have decided to emerge from this storm that are happening right now. I really hope to hear directly from you on what we can do for you, and really do a deep dive into your individual businesses to see where we can help and what assistance we can help with. So now I've said that, let's hear some Q&A. Anastasia.
Thank you, Steve. So the first question is, can you apply for CEBA now if you have not issued a salary but dividends?
Okay,
So
well, great question. In fact, oh, sorry. Steve.
Oh yeah, that would be an Ashwin question.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's a great question. I mean, I would say, in fact, a lot of our owner-managed businesses have this exact same question, just because salaries is something that you'd expect to be consistent over the term of the year, whereas dividends is what a lot of owner-managed businesses pay themselves, just given given if they're having predictable cash flows, they would take money as needed and then consider them dividends at the end of the year. This particular program is only eligible for businesses that are eligible for this are only businesses that have paid payroll in between $20,000 and $1.5 million during 2019. So if they have paid a portion of their salaries, whether it's to themselves or to their employees, or they have employees, or even if they paid some salaries to themselves, and it exceeds, it falls within that range, they are definitely eligible. However, if they're paying themselves solely dividends and they don't have a payroll account with CRA and they haven't paid any other payroll to anyone else, then no, unfortunately, you will not be eligible.
Thank you for that. And the other question, what are the program timelines for each of the CEBA Canada and SBA Paycheck Protection Loan?
Okay, great question again. So in terms of timelines for the Canadian program, there are no timelines. It's just a matter of when you apply for it. At least at this point in time, the government hasn't issued a deadline per se. It is open, so you could go into your financial institution's online banking or look at the COVID-19 related web pages, depending on which bank your business is bank with, and you can apply through it at this point in time. And with respect to the Paycheck Protection Program in the U.S., it's available until July of this year.
Okay, and is there a loan limit for the Paycheck program?
No, there is no. That's a really good question. There is no limit at this point in time. The SBA is looking at it on a case-by-case basis, and yeah. So essentially, there is no limit, and if they deem it to be applicable to your business, if 100% of it can be forgivable, all that money can be provided to the businesses as it's going to be forgivable, so it's going to be free, essentially.
Okay. And my last question for you, Ashwin, is my business has bank accounts with two separate financial institutions. Can I apply for the Canada Emergency Business Account through each institution?
Right. Another great question, Anastasia. In fact, it's not unusual for owner-managed businesses or even small businesses or any business for that matter to bank with different financial institutions. What this program specifies is that you can only apply for this program with the bank account in which your operating expenses are paid out of. So payroll, rent, utilities, or any other similar operating expenses, you should be applying for the CEBA through that particular bank account. And so to your question, you cannot apply for it if it's one business, you can apply for it in through multiple bank accounts.
Thank you. So I'm going to reach out to everyone who's on the call today. If you have any question for Ashwin, now is the time. So feel free either to unmute yourself and ask your question or put it into the chat.
Yeah, and Steve here again, everybody. I do find, these are some great questions. I'm sure everyone had similar questions on their mind. One of the reasons why we do these web series is so that, as we're discussing some of these options, that everyone on the call has a chance to think how these things can apply to themselves. Whether that's a government wage subsidy to help keeping their staff working and keep their livelihood around, or whether that's a Google grant for a free $500 or free $10,000 to help market your new message out there. You can ask yourselves, how can I apply these things to my own business and what the value is there? Of course, sometimes you want to keep that information private. So just, any calls that Brennan or Anastasia do directly with each of you are confidential. So you can definitely keep some of those more private questions to those one-on-one calls for sure. I see a ton of value in these meetings. I know I've personally got a ton of value out of these webinars. And I'm really looking forward to tomorrow's webinar. Tomorrow's webinar, we'll be having a special guest speaker, Chris Mounier, who's actually a reputation management expert. And we're going to talk a lot about your reputation online and what your customers see when they look you up, and how that can gravely positively impact your business right now during COVID-19, because reputation is more important than ever. And also, if you do require some assistance on reputation, some great tips and tricks for how you can manage that directly. So I really hope to see all of you on the web series tomorrow. Same time, same web series time, same web series channel. As well, we are here offering these series for free. They are a public service to help everyone who requires some support right now. So please feel free, if you know any other business owners or people who could see some value here, you share the link. Let's help grow this together, and Brennan and Anastasia will continue to produce these for all of our benefits. I really appreciate everyone being on the call today. I look forward to hearing from all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Steve. So I have a question from Lydia. So for the PPP loan, can we use
Here's what I found on the web.
Oh, sorry. That was my Google help on my phone. So for the PPP loan, can we use 2018 tax return information or 2019?
Okay, so great question. With respect to the PPP loan, you'd have to apply for it through the SBA. Like I said earlier, it really depends on the size of the business, and there's certain criteria that need to be met. When preparing this application, they would typically ask you for the most recent information, recent available information. In this particular case, from what I'm hearing, when even all the clients that we've helped apply for this loan, it really depends on your situation. So if you'd like to get more information about that, I would suggest that you can reach out to me for consultation, and we can look at it, because it'll really be on a case-by-case basis. Unlike the Canadian grant, which is a standard loan, standard amount to everyone, it really depends for each business who's eligible and what numbers they'll be looking at as part of this application.
Thanks, Ashwin. Thank you, everybody, for joining. And Ashwin's going to be joining us next Tuesday as well to go over some more key details that you need to know about how to tap into different resources and different programs, financial advice as well. So we're looking forward to that. Thank you, Ashwin. Tomorrow, please join us again, as we're going to be talking, as Steve mentioned, about reputation management. So thanks, everybody. Again, reach out to Anastasia. We're going to keep the call on here. I'm going to turn off my video. But reach out to Anastasia if you'd like to book a one-on-one with Ashwin, or even us at BreezeMax Webs. Thank you very much, everybody. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thank you,
Great
Brent.
webinar. Great webinar. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. So I'm going to stay on here. So if you want to send me a message, I'm just booking one-on-one appointments for whoever needs to have a more personal conversation, whether it's with Ashwin or with Brennan. Please just leave me a message here in the chat. I'm going to keep my camera on for another 5 minutes.
Hello, Anastasia.
Hi, how are you?
Fine, thank you. I had a question for Ashwin about the wage subsidy. I thought it would be nice if you could explain that.
Sorry, can you speak just a little louder for me?
I was saying that I had a question for Ashwin, and I wanted him to explain to us about the wage subsidy so that everybody could understand how it works.
Okay,
Sorry, I'll just jump in here. So you wanted to know a little bit more about the wage subsidies. Now, I believe Ashwin is still on the call. Ash, are you still there? Do you mind answering VJ's question here?
Perfect, there you go.
Sure. Yes. Hi. So with respect to the wage subsidy, they're both it's available both in Canada as well as in the U.S. I'm guessing the term that you're referring to would be the Canadian program. And so there's two programs. One which is a 75% subsidy, which allows you to get up to 75%, or actually $847 a week in subsidizing your payroll expenses. So that would require you to show your current year's or current month's payroll against against either the last month's payroll or last year. So for example, if you're looking at March 2020, you'd be comparing it to March 2019, or even you could use a measure where you're looking at the average of January and February. And there's certain specific percentages decreases that need to be looked at to see if your business is eligible. So just as an example, if your March 2020 payroll has decreased by 15% compared to March 2019, not your payroll, your March 2020 revenue has decreased compared to March 2019's revenue, then your payroll in March 2020 you could apply for this subsidy to receive up to 75% of the of your wages after March 15th. The government's looking at March 15th as the cutoff when they decided to implement all these measures, such as shutting down certain businesses and then putting more of putting more strict measures surrounding COVID-19. And so they're looking at from March 15th to March 31st, any payroll that you've paid, you could be eligible for up to 75%. But most businesses, as I've mentioned on my in my when I was discussing, would be eligible for the 10% subsidy.
Okay, so the reduction in revenues, that 15%, is it for all the months or is it only for the month of March?
Well, it's from March to June, but it really just depends. It just depends on the on whether or not the businesses have seen a reduction in revenue or not.
Yeah. So my question is, in case there is a reduction in revenue of 15% in April, will that be acceptable for the wage subsidy?
No, it'll be no. Then so that's what. So it's really it'll be 30% at that point if it's April or May.
Okay. So it's only 15 for the month of March.
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Anastasia. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. And Vijay, would you like to book a one-on-one call with us as well?
Sure. I would like to know about your services. So
Okay.
maybe if you could.
Can you
can
just send me your phone number in the chat here and a date and time that will work for you?
Sure, I will.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
And also, just for the ones that are still on the call, Ashwin, you can maybe just enter in your information in the chat if that's all right. Just maybe phone number, email.
Sure.
And feel free, if you have any questions, please, now is the time to ask. Because we still have about 18 people on the call, so.
Okay. Can I ask one more question to Ashwin if he is still there?
Sure, go ahead. I believe Ashwin is still there. Ashwin, are you still there?
Actually, if it's all right, Vijay, if that's okay with you, maybe just set up a one-on-one call with Vijay at this point. Or sorry, with Ashwin. Vijay, if you can set up a call with Ashwin, that would be great.
I'll do that. I have his number. Thank you. No problem.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Brennan. I can now leave the meeting. And if you'd like to just also save the chat on your end as well.
Sounds good. All right. Thanks so much.
Thank you.